As we think about breaking the cycle, we really think about the evolution that needs to happen in the advertising industry. And I look at it in four things that we need to break. One, we need to break the cycle on being so dependent on the walled gardens. We also need to break the cycle as it relates to identifiers and cookies disappearing. To that vein, we also need to break the cycle as it relates to over-targeting consumers. And then lastly, we need to break the cycle in paying for tech fees for services that we simply just don't need. And so I think there's just a lot of change that needs to happen in the advertising industry, and we need that evolution. It's not going to happen if we keep doing the same things, if we keep using the same tech and expecting different results, which we desperately need. And we feel, and I feel that that big evolution is really grounded in AI.
We're a pharmacy. We target we put ads to come get your flu shot, and those ads work well when there's flu in a location. And so we had been using data for a while when we saw flu incidents go up to put those ads in market. But there was always a lag, because first the data had to be accumulated by the data company. They had to get us the data. We had to action on the data, et cetera, et cetera. So what we did with IBM was used different data to find a highly accurate way of predicting if flu is going to be rising in a locale, and we can get our advertising into that locale before flu happens, so we're already rolling when it does show up. And that's been really productive for us. So I just think the speed of it and the ability for it to just handle massive amounts of data and associations creates opportunities that just haven't even been on the radar before.
What's been the most interesting thing, especially over the past year, is just the very, very, rapid acceleration into digital, and really taking, I think we're finally at a place where we're taking that digital first approach. We've been talking about it for years. And I think, based on what we've seen and how consumers are shopping and consuming media, it's here. And now it's a little bit of playing catch up. But it's also about how do we start to really work closely with the publishers on making sure that advertising formats, content, everything that's available to us as brands and advertisers is the most beneficial and valuable to the consumer. And I think that, to me, is where this next round of disruption is going to happen in the digital advertising space. As advertisers, we need to have interesting and engaging formats in order to be able to communicate our message. And then I think also the big thing, and a lot of people are talking about it, is really how can you reach your consumers in a much more contextually relevant way and in a much more engaging way. So how can we use the data that's available to us to make sure that the content that we're providing on our side is relevant? And I think, what does that look like today, but also what does that look like into the future as we have many, many more privacy regulations that are coming out?
Now more than ever, the next couple of years will be on huge learning curves around a couple different fronts. And you mentioned the one front around targeting and data and the ability to use data. I mean, we learned that during the pandemic, we learned what we learned before, that, as contextually relevant as you can be, the more powerful and, productive the investment is, right? So we have to figure out a way as a marketer. We believe that we're making progress in, breaking down, the walled gardens that we've whined about for the last, number of years, and trying to really make progress on how do I really understand the consumer journey across platforms.
In terms of machine learning and its applications within our industry, they're very rich. One of the things that we're leveraging at Wavemaker and at Group M is predictive analytics, time series predictive analytics, understanding how much money or how much funds should be going into certain channels, let's say search, and predicting what your response would be based on other media that's running, based off of budgets, based off of past performance, and predicting in the near future of what sort of responses that you can get back. This is very valuable to our clients. This is just one of the ways that we actually leverage machine learning. And I think it's also rich for sentiment analysis. For a lot of the the earned media that's out there that's not necessarily paid. As a media agency, we focus on paid, but there's a lot of earned media out there, and there's a lot of buzz out there that we need to quantify and measure.
I think we just need to move from the old legacy models that we grew up with, where you had a TV budget that you allocated first, and then you started figuring out what could be done after that. I think because of the decisions of consumers and the way they're consuming media, the omni-channel approach that we all talk about, you have to look at where the consumers are, where your brand needs to be, and put them in positions where the message and the channel are aligned exactly with what their expectations are, especially, out of the past year. There's no way to live in the past and focus primarily on what worked in the past. And I think that now we need to really focus on breaking the cycle of the media planning necessities of focusing on cost and focusing on specific outcomes, and start moving to a much broader omni-channel, data first, consumer first way of thinking.
We think AI can help and play a critical role in our go forward. I'm personally optimistic about this because we've seen AI address foundational problems, foundational challenges in other industries like cybersecurity, healthcare. We've seen how AI can fundamentally transform how things get done. Let me give a few examples. Consider this. IBM uses AI to help mitigate 1 trillion security events every month. 1 trillion. AI is also helping businesses better understand and determine when it's safe for their employees to go back to work. So if AI can help with these incredibly complex problems, surely it can play a vital role in the marketing and the media industry.